Owning a royalty interest in a brand new shale well can be pretty exciting. Maybe you own minerals in the Permian Basin in West Texas, the Haynesville Shale in North Louisiana, or the Williston Basin in North Dakota. Those first few checks can be huge. Depending on the size of your tract, we're talking thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars per month. But what happens 12 or 18 months down the road often takes mineral owners by surprise. Their checks start to go down. Let's talk about it. Howdy folks, my name is Steven Hatcher and welcome to the Minerals Guy channel. On this channel, we share tips on minerals management, mineral valuation, and how to achieve maximum value for your mineral rights. I'm a professional mineral buyer and an oil and gas attorney with over a decade of experience buying, selling, and developing oil and gas properties all across the country. If you're getting value from our content, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to our channel. If you're one of the select few Americans that own producing mineral rights, first off, congrats. You are being paid because you own land or mineral rights with oil and gas in the ground that is being tapped by an oil company. Mineral rights in oil and gas have created some of the largest fortunes in the country. And the checks that you receive when a new well gets drilled can be absolutely life-changing. But a lot of folks get taken by surprise 12 to 18 months down the road. Their checks for 10, 20, or even 30 grand a month start to decline fast. Is this some grand conspiracy? Is someone else stealing their money? The short answer is no. Oil and gas wells are incredible assets, but they all share one thing in common. And this fact is inherent in the very nature of oil and gas wells. They decline. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. The amount of your monthly royalty checks are based on two things: the volume of hydrocarbons, oil and natural gas produced from your property, and the price at which those hydrocarbons are sold. And when we're talking about well decline, we're talking about volume. Every oil and gas well produces based on a hyperbolic decline curve that looks something like this, meaning that production from a new well is gonna start really high. For a Permian Wolfcamp well, it could be well over 1,000 barrels a day. For a Haynesville Shale natural gas well, it could be over 30 million cubic feet of natural gas per day. And these wells will rip for several months as that virgin rock is being tapped. Enormous amounts of formation pressure are forcing those hydrocarbons to the surface. But as the hydrocarbons are produced, that formation pressure is gonna start to drop. And once that pressure is no longer enough to force those hydrocarbons to the surface, the operator is gonna install artificial lift or a pump in order to lift those hydrocarbons to the surface. And through this process, the volume of hydrocarbons that the well can produce will decline. Most shale wells, which account for 95% of new drills in the US, are gonna decline anywhere between 60 and 80% during the first 2 years of production. And this means that you're going to receive 60 to 80% of the total value from your well within the first 2 years. This is why your checks start really high and then they fall off like a ski jump. For you new mineral owners out there, do not, I repeat, do not fall prey to the illusion that your checks will stay high forever, because they won't. It's physics. Now, as more wells are drilled on your property, this process is gonna repeat itself over and over. New well, high checks, and then decline until your property is fully developed, meaning that all the wells that can be drilled have been drilled. And at this point, your property will start its final or terminal decline from which there is no return. And your wells may continue to produce at a much lower rate for 10, 20, or even 30 years. But remember, the big checks aren't coming back. And here's what a lot of folks don't understand. Oil and gas are not infinite resources. There is an enormous amount of science that goes into calculating how much a single oil and gas well will produce. And it depends on things like the size of the reservoir, the porosity and permeability of the rock, as well as reservoir pressure, drainage area, and the relationship between parent and child wells. So what do you do with this information? You plan accordingly. Make sure that you save some for a rainy day. Producing mineral rights are awesome assets to own on your personal balance sheet, but remember that they are largely passive assets. There may be more wells that can be drilled on your property in the future. The problem is that as a mineral owner, you have very little control over when that happens. And we actually work with folks every single day who know the resources in the ground. They just don't know when that next well is coming. And if you'd like to realize some or all of that future value today, click the link below to get in touch.